I chose to write about the Brothers Grimm for a few reasons. First, I had taught courses on German fairy tales and the Brothers Grimm for many years, and I was struck by how often my students, or when I would give public lectures on the Grimms, audience members would come up to me and ask me if there were a good biography of them. And there was no biography that I really could recommend because the last one in English had been published 50 years ago and was very outdated. We've learned some things about the Grimms in the meantime that make those biographies inaccurate in certain ways. So I was struck by the need for a new biography, and also struck by how many of my students and also people attending my public lectures were so surprised that the Grimms did fairy tales, but also so much more, and how much they wanted to learn about the Grimms in their historical context. And so that's what really inspired me to write about the Grimms. Many people, too, would tell me about their first encounter with a Grimm fairy tale or something like that. So it was inspiring to me to see how people of all ages have this resonance with there's something about the fairy tales of the Brothers Grimm that really speaks to them across time and place. I have a few favorite Grimm fairy tales. Of the ones that are really well known, I think Rumpelstiltskin is probably my favorite because it's a very enigmatic tale and it can be interpreted in so many different ways. So that's one. A lesser known tale that I also am really drawn to is called Hans My Hedgehog. And it is actually about a boy who is born half human, half hedgehog. And he's shunned by his family and he rides off to the forest playing bagpipes and riding a rooster. And if that isn't a great fairy tale image, I don't know what is. This fantastic creature, and then how at the end he prevails despite having been shunned by his family. So that's one of my favorites as well. But there are many others. There are over a couple hundred tales in the 7th and Standard edition of the Grimm's collection. So there are many wonderful ones to choose from. So for me, in my writing style, I suppose, what I try to do is balance the political historical context in which the Grimms were living, to balance that with in-depth analysis of their particular work, their family relationships, but also details that make them come alive as people. And so that can be things like the objects they collected. It can be their work habits throughout the day. It can be the squabbles that they had at times with their siblings. So all of the things that I think bring color, bring nuance to who they were as people. And for me, trying to balance that and convey to the reader both the uniqueness of the time in which they lived, but also, to my mind, some of the powerful ways in which the time in which the Grimms lived also really resonates with our own. Some of the exact struggles that confronted them are ones that we are still confronting, albeit maybe in different ways today. So I try to bring that out for my reader.